Good morning. Today is April 5th, our Sunshine Lecture. Let us start with our universal prayer of peace. Om. O Lord, may your hand lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May all be happy. May all be peaceful. May all be enlightened and cultured. May all attain perfection. May peace be established in the three bodies of man. May peace be established in the three worlds. May peace be established everywhere. May truth be our religion. May service be our worship. May knowledge be our breath. May world be our family. May yoga and meditation be our way. May our eyes see happy and noble things. May our ears hear happy and truthful words. May our tongues be sweet and truthful. And may our bodies be divine instruments. May noble thoughts come to us from all corners of the universe. May we never leave God. May God never leave us. Om, peace and love. Om, peace and health. Om, peace and enlightenment. Om. So last week we spoke about how we create grooves in our mind. We call them neural pathways. These neural pathways we were discussing are there. They have been implanted there. That way, because of thoughts that we have had continuously, the same thought, it creates a deeper pathway. If you keep thinking the same thing, it keeps creating a deeper pathway. And the deeper the pathway, the easier the mind flows into it. So we have to think about how to get ourselves out of those in order to create new ones. And the number one thing, of course, since I'm teaching yoga, I always say meditation will make you understand what your mind is doing. Our mind is an automatic machine from the subconscious mind, and it goes over its own program over and over. Just like the computer will go through the same program to get started. It goes through the same stuff of the subconscious mind. And that subconscious mind has not only been programmed in this lifetime by our parents, our society, by a mass consciousness, by the news, but also from previous lives. That's why fears come, certain fears of things that we have that don't seem reasonable, they might have been there. That is a groove that has been created. So understand that your mind automatically goes. And so when you can't control the mind, don't blame yourself. It is a natural thing. It's a machine. It keeps going. It has to think. People go into meditation thinking that they have to be quiet. No, meditation is a very active part in order to control the mind to go only in one direction. And then once it goes into one direction and it stops and gets out of all the grooves and stops, and that takes effort and concentration. And then after that, it is available to go flying into the universe or to go into samadhi. But to get there takes effort. And to make these changes takes effort. And I like to talk to you about structure. Structure allows us to make changes without too much difficulty. Structure is something that you and I can create on our own. It is something that actually we follow. All religions usually have a structure. That's something you must do every single day. It is wonderful to see when I go to India how every house has a small area that they maintain for their prayer. And it's a very good thing. Because it is at that time they go to that prayer section. If they are affluent, they have a separate room for it. If not, they have a prayer space. That they call it their altar. And in that altar, or in that space, nothing personal is. And every day they go there in the morning and they say their prayers. And they wouldn't miss it for a day. Because they know that if they do that, if they give thanks to the Lord, if they are feeling grateful for what they have, their day will be better. But that is a wonderful thing. And there are two things in play here. A thing that it is a structure of having to do it every day. And the other part is that it is a sacred. It is sacred. With other words, nothing personal can be in that space. It is only designed for the Lord. And once you enter that space, your mind changes because you have placed it that way. And even if it is in a corner of your room, once you go there, your mind changes. We do that here in the ashram, the temple. We're not allowed to speak about certain things in the temple. And the minute you walk in, you feel the energy so different. And then, of course, in the ashram, we have absolutely every single day, no matter what, arti, morning at 6:30 and morning and the evening at 6:30. It is structure. And everyone who comes to the ashram knows that structure. And they enjoy it because it brings the best out in you, that structure. And in the yoga hall, everybody goes into the yoga hall. We also don't keep things in there that are personal. We make things there so that when you walk in, you feel the energy of self-improvement, because that's what the yoga hall is all about. And it changes the energy when we start putting all of our own stuff. No, there has to be a place that you have, a place where you will feel the difference of the structure. And then your mind will automatically go to it. So make yourself a small area where you will sit and pray. That is one way. Then, now that you are at home, everybody's homebound, make a structure, like all of you are going to, the whole family is going to sit together and eat at a certain time. These little things help. I was amazed. Okay. Many, many years ago, I had given up my quest for spirituality because I was looking for it in the Christian religion. And I found too many discrepancies. And one day, I went to the library, and this book practically fell out, or it was sitting on a table, or whatever. It was a biography of Saint Teresa of Avila. That's why she's here today. Okay. And that biography, I had read her autobiography, which is very difficult to read, because It was during the Inquisition, and she had to keep putting herself down all the time. And she was constantly monitored. But in this biography, it was a delight to see her personality. And it inspired me to come back. But one of the things that always has been in my mind about it, St. John of the Cross came to St. Teresa of Avila and requested her to teach him for spirituality. And the first thing she said to him was, make a list of what you're going to do every day. Write it down, make a list, and follow it absolutely without fail. In other words, create a schedule and follow it without fail. Now, this is what a saint is teaching as the first step to spirituality. No, it's the first step to being able to control the mind. When we follow a certain structure, it gives us support. It gives the mind support, and it gives us support. And when we follow the structure, we feel empowered. Remember, the structure I have made, you have made yourself. So what St. John of the Cross did is he wrote it on a little piece of paper, and he pasted it up on the wall, and every day he went to look at it, and he followed it absolutely, just like St. Teresa of Avila asked him to do so. And that always kept in my mind that was the very first thing she taught him. So it must be very important, and it is. Remember, we make our own life with what is in our mind and how we perceive things. We will always have difficulties. We will always have problems. But it is how our mind processes it that we make it either destroying us or able to work with it. And how the mind works is so important for us to understand, and how to manage it. And that's exactly what we're talking about. We're managing the mind, because we don't really know what's in the subconscious mind. And we have to start looking and seeing, is that really what I would like to think about? Because our life can be full of delight and joy and freedom, or it can become a prison, and the life can be the same, and it can be full of pain and limitations. I remember very clearly when I was working in the hospital as a nurse's aide during high school. And there was this one woman that kept coming back into the hospital with so many problems. And she always had a smile when I went into her room. Always. And she always thanked me 1,000 times. And she always was full of joy to just go into that room. And yet she had so many problems. And I'm going, how does that work? She has so many illnesses, and she's in pain, but yet instead of complaining, she's just saying, thank you for helping me. Thank you. And she's always looking at the very best. And I realized, and then the next room, oh, I'm in so much pain, and I'm in such a terrible situation. And I knew the pain was much less. And it was very inspiring to see that you can take adversity and you can still accept yourself and be okay. I will fight it. I will take care of it by not going back into the grooves of self-pity, etc. These are very important to understand. We make our life. Yes, the circumstances might not change, but how we handle them will make our life and our happiness and our feelings inside and how we project ourselves to other people. It is most important for us not to disempower ourselves. So we take a look at our life, our thoughts, and then we see, oh, I don't like that thought. And we go, oh, I'm no good because I don't have that thought. No, that this is not your fault. These are grooves that have been created. Don't look at it that it's your fault. Look at it, okay, good, I'm seeing you. Now I can do something about it. It's so much better. Because step away from being totally involved. Watch the thoughts. And then do things that empower you. I was very much impressed with Admiral McRaven. He gave a commencement speech. And the commencement speech was the name was Make Your Bed. He was a Navy SEAL, and his 6 months of training as a Navy SEAL was gruesome. But no matter how gruesome it was, the first thing in the morning, when they got out of bed, they had to make their bed to perfection because people would come to inspect. And he's going, why? I have to be a Navy SEAL. I have to be strong. I have to do this, that. And here they're asking me to make the corners of the bed perfect and to fold the blanket perfect. And he says, yes, it's very important. And I like to quote you. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to another task and another. By the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you will never do the big things right. Isn't that beautiful? So now, if you don't make your bed every morning, get up and make the bed. If you're a yogi and one day you get up, or anyone, you get up, you feel happy, you do your exercises, either running or any exercise, you do your deep breathing, you do your prayers, you say your mala, you sit for meditation, and you feel absolutely wonderful. You say, okay, I'm going to do that every day. So for 2 or 3 days, you go ahead and do it. And then all of a sudden, it's one day you're in bed and you go, oh, I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like it. And before you know it, the old system is back. And even though you know that it's the best thing for you, what is happening here? It is happening is that we're going into back the same grooves. That's why we must make that initial effort first thing in the morning. If we don't make it first thing in the morning, the rest of the day is not going to flow. It is so important. I don't know which year it was, but one year we have in teachers training, we had the retreat every year for graduation in December, and usually about 50 people. I went to a little dollar store one day, and I saw calendars, a little small book of the next year's calendar, and it was only $1.25. And I asked him how many he had. And I bought all of them. There were 60 of them. And each day for the 365 days, it had 9 lines, which is exactly what I have always told people. Write your gratitude list, 9 items, because number 9 is such a beautiful number. It is such a sacred number. And so I decided to buy everything he had. So he brought out the box. It was 60 of them. And at the retreat, I gave everybody one of these journals for the rest of the year. And I said, every day I would like you to wake up every morning and write your gratitude list. And you can even start in December, because next year, December, it can be the end, because by then you will have made a habit. You have made a habit that you couldn't get up unless you wrote. So I gave everybody, and I even put a name, a beautiful saying on it. And so the next year, and I asked them to all bring their books. And out of the 60 ones that I had distributed, there were only 3 people that did it every single day. So what happens? What happens to us when we make a decision and we know it makes us feel better and we still don't do it? What is there that keeps us from doing these things? Well, the number one is that you don't feel that you're worthy of feeling better. That's why. That's number one. You're not worthy of feeling better. Well, who said? Who put that into your head? Where did that come from? Is it the truth? No, it is not. You have to understand that if you're not doing what makes you feel better, it is because of and Mataji said, it is because not only that you don't feel yourself better and you disempower yourself, but also that it can be one other reason. And that is the ego. The ego is, I am better than this, I don't need it. And that ego is so pramad, we call it. That ego is so powerful. It is not for your best interest. It is there to keep you from doing your very best. It wants to take over. Yes, I need the ego for me to do something. And yet it wants to take over. It is, I am feeling I don't need it, I'm better than this. We're not. We're not. Better than this means I'm going to go back to what has been programmed into my mind. And that programming could have happened when you were 5 years old or 3 years old, and it has no value at this time. We are different people now. So what has been, what the worldview that we have been taught and programmed changes as we grow. But do we change? No, not necessarily. Worldviews need to be reviewed and seen and does that work for me now? This is what we mean by becoming a yogi and looking at your mind. Because when you sit quietly in meditation or in your mantra or in your prayers, you begin to understand what your mind is doing. So I implore you all, make a list of your daily tasks and do them. And most importantly, and this is what I do, the one I like the least, I will do first to get it over with. Well, what happens if the one we like the least is in our mind? Oh, I have to do this. But if you go ahead and just do the tasks, and I always keep saying, just do it, because once you do it, it's done, you feel good, you feel relieved. But if you have it in your mind, oh, I have to do this, and you don't do it, and you procrastinate, your mind goes, I have to do this, and then your mind is so heavy that with that much energy that you have spent thinking about having to do it, you could have done it 10 times and be done with it, because it's sitting heavy on the mind. And it's sitting back there constantly. Oh, I got to clean the house. I got to clean it. And now that you have time, you still didn't clean it. And we always say, I don't have time. And I always thought that I was good, I do things very quickly, etc. And I said to Mataji one time, I don't have time. She says, that's a lie. You have time. And I'm going, what? I'm doing part of the ashram. I'm going to work. I'm coming home. I'm doing the arti. What do you mean I have time? In my mind, of course, I can't say that to Mataji, my guru. And then, in 1992, I decided to go back to school to get my bachelor's, which I never had, because I had to work when I was younger, and I went to college for 4 years, and I only got 55 credits. And I said, okay, I can't do this anymore. It's too much work, too hard. Supporting yourself, going to work, going to school, it just didn't work out, so I gave up. So I decided to finish it up. And I was working full-time. I had the ashram, and I went to college. It was set up a little different than the classes that you normally go to. It was set up for adults. And I did 65 credits in 15 months. And everybody thought I was absolutely insane for even trying to accomplish it. But when you set your mind to doing something, and you want to do it, and you love doing it, then it will be done. You will be able to do it. I didn't like to do it, I didn't love to do it, but I was determined to do it. And you have heard so many times, if you really want to get something, you can do it. If you want something really bad, you can do it. And in yoga, I have taught what Patanjali has taught, that if you want to get something done, you have to have 3 things. To do it uninterruptedly. And there is another thing, with love and respect. This is where people forget that everything should be done with love and respect. When we used to all sit down for dinner, and the table was set, and we said our prayers, and the family gathered around, that was with love and respect. And then everybody enjoyed the meal. Now I find families take their food, they sit in the corner, they're watching TV, they're doing this, they're on the phone. There's no love and respect. When you have love and respect, then the object will give you what you need. In India, before you work on a book, you get the blessing from the book. And you never put it on the floor, because the book is supposed to give you knowledge. Even if you enjoy the book, even if it is something that is supposed to give you entertainment, you still don't throw it on the floor. You respect it. I remember when we were living here together, all three of us, when we bought the first building here, Mataji, Janaki, and I were living together in a one-bedroom apartment. Mataji had one room, and I and Janaki had the other room, and then there was the kitchen. And I was working, and when I used to come home from work, I would take my jeans off, and sometimes there would be change in there from the coffee truck that would fall out, and it would be on the floor. And one day Mataji came by, and we didn't have a door on that because it was a living room, came by and saw the quarter on the floor. And she stood there like, oh my goodness, and chided me. And I'm going, it's just a quarter on the floor. But she says, if you cannot respect what you have, then that will not work. And I know that if you everything needs to be respected, and then it will give you abundance. Similarly, respect your mind, and it will come to it will be your friend. Try to work with the mind. Try to look at it and respect it. Don't put it down. Usually we put it down. Oh, I'm no good. I should have done this. No, respect the mind. I know, mind, that you automatically go into these things, and I have no control over them, but I can change that. You must respect everything. Everything needs respect, including yourself, especially including yourself. And if you respected yourself, then you would not do things to yourself that would damage you. It is such a wonderful part of life when you respect. And that starts out by respecting, making your bed in the morning, saying your gratitude list in the morning, doing your prayers in the morning, doing your exercise in the morning, and your whole day will change. And that is self-respect. Because I respect myself, I am going to do this. Yes, I might lose a little bit of sleep, but I also know that the rest of the day I will feel so much better. And so if you feel that you want to respect yourself, set a schedule and follow it. Follow it no matter what. Because it is during that schedule, just like Saint Teresa told us, follow the schedule and it will give you strength. It will give you power. It will empower you. Remember, I'm not making your schedule. You can make your own. And a schedule can change, but follow it. Some people decide the night before of what you're going to do the next day. And they do the most difficult task immediately. Mark Twain had a quote called the live frog quote that advises you to start the day by getting the most important task out of the way. Because once you do that, it's done. The most important task of your day should be self-help, self-empowerment, so that you can tackle anything. And then you tackle what you need to do during the day. Once you do that, your body automatically knows when it is time to do it. And it will automatically flow into it. It will become a habit. And habits make grooves. And grooves grow deeper the more you practice. And if you make a groove, then the mind will flow automatically. And you wouldn't even think about not doing it. It will be automatic. Some people have trained themselves, if they're self-employed, to be at a certain time. Stephen King, the great author, has found and examined when is my best time to be creative. And he has found that at 8 a.m. he's the most creative, for the first 4 hours. And so he arranged his schedule that at 8 a.m. sharp, no matter what, he goes and he writes. And he trained himself to do so on demand. And now, the creative juices run at that particular time, every day. And you know what's the best part? He's done at 12. And then he's free to do whatever else. Similarly, once we take our tasks and we have done it and we have empowered ourselves, then we're free to enjoy, to do the things that we want to do. Yes, we have to go to work. Yes, we have to do certain things every day. But how we look at them and how we perceive them, even if the work is difficult, how we perceive them, we can perceive, thank God I have. Some people don't, etc. So I'm asking you, make a schedule, do something on a regular basis, and especially now that the whole family is at home, make a schedule to sit down and eat together at a certain time, or do certain things at a certain time, and have the kids schedule to when they're going to do the homework. Scheduling is important. It empowers. It's structure. And most importantly, respect. Respect the area that you're going to sit down. Make a place where you're going to work. Make a place for the children where they're going to work. And respect that space as their space for their work. This is important. For their schoolwork, respect. Don't have them do their games there. No, only their work. The respect. It's so important. The same way we respect the ashram. And once we come in, everybody says, oh, I feel so good. It has such wonderful energy. That's because of the respect that everybody brings. And it has this energy, and yet hundreds and hundreds of people come in and out with different thought forms, and they don't stay because there's so much respect and so much reverence. And remember, God resides in everything. The energy of the divine is everywhere. Every atom has the energy of the divine. So everything requires respect, and especially ourselves. Those are the ones we respect the least. And if we can't give ourselves joy, how can we give others joy? And so, make a schedule, respect yourself, and stick to it for a while until it becomes automatic. Just like when you get up in the morning, it's automatic to brush your teeth. Make a schedule, stick to it until it becomes automatic. And you will empower yourself unbelievably. And remember, wake up every morning to a gratitude list. Number 1, before you make your bed, and then make your bed. God bless you. And I'll you home. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Saint Teresa of Avila, my inspiration.